Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Assetto Corsa Competizione. Dropping down to tier 3 for season 2, but thinking that I should be pretty strong seeing as I was in tier 2 last season, and I feel a lot more comfortable in the Mercedes this season. Starting off at Monza, braking just before the 100-meter board, down to first gear, hooking up nicely through this first chicane. Now onto Curva Grande. Not really any time to lose or gain through here, but you do want to still keep it tight. Definitely targeting high 47s, low 48s for qualifying. I know I'm capable of it. Braking at about the 150 meter board, keeping it as narrow a line as possible through there. Very easy to hit the curbs if you don't get it right. Now onto Lesmo 1. Accelerating as early as possible, running it wide. Could have probably been a bit wider. Lesmo 2 down to second gear, on the power as early as possible again. A little bit squirmish on the exit. We hit the inside curve on Lesmo 2, which is always a bit scary. But now heading down to Ascari. This is where you make or break your lap. This is all the lap time here pretty much. You can see we're about half a second up almost, I think, on our delta. Very nice through the first apex. Getting on the right hand curve halfway through the corner, and we're lucky to get away without invalidating there. I don't actually remember extending. I must have thought I kept it in, but maybe I did just about. But now Parabolica, sliding it through here, and then early on the power again. This track's all about being on the power as much as possible, keeping the corners, your apex speed up for the corners, and we are going to improve to do a 147.892. It's a pretty good lap, definitely could have been better, and that puts us actually in second place. M20 manages to take pole position by 1800ths, and we actually do exactly the same lap time as Spanix in third. He's in the he's in the McLaren, but obviously we set our lap time first, so we keep the position, and then there's a pretty big gap back to 4th, 5th, and then the rest. Sammy Pepito open their minds. Sneaky 24/7 Ninja, who is my teammate on F1, and then the rest of the grid. Not actually raced many of these people before. Last season, I think S. Kiselev's the only person that I've actually was in the same tier as. Everyone else is a pretty unfamiliar name, to be honest. But let's see how we get on in the race. So we're starting on the front row of the grid, which is pretty darn good considering turn 1 has some real potential for disaster. Hopefully the drivers behind us keep it nice and easy into turn 1. Don't want to be dead straight away. You can see we're thinking maybe about throwing up the inside. As always on this game, it's a little bit rubber banding, so I've actually broken very cautiously so that he doesn't think about turning in on us, and we've actually meant that we're going to be running alongside the car to our left, who I think is Spanix to our left. Have we got the grunt in a straight line to stay ahead of him? Mercedes is pretty handy in a straight line, and it seems he's either backed off or his McLaren is not quite as handy. But we now take second place. We now look pretty calm. No threat from behind anymore, and it's all about trying to overtake M20 as quickly as possible. I felt like I had a really good pace here. Definitely felt like the win was very much a possibility. You can see there we're changing our engine map down to engine map 2, so a bit of an advantage for the Mercedes. We've only got 3 engine maps. The third one is pretty slow, extremely slow. It's like fuel save mode, sort of formation laps and stuff, I think. But fuel map 1 is very quick. Fuel map 2 is not that much slower. It is slower, but not that much slower, but you actually save about half a litre of fuel every lap, so it's very handy to use. And sort of flick between them if you're trying to overtake someone. You can go into engine map 1 to try and get a bit more power. But again, it's all about closing up to M20 now. I wanted to start the season off with a bang, and second place is great, first place is better. Haven't actually won an ACC race yet. I don't think in any capacity, to be honest. Not even sort of single player stuff, I don't think I've actually won a race because I always start at the back. But nice gap forming behind us to a second after the first lap. Less than a second ahead is M20, but do sort of need to bring that down. Maybe driving a little bit cautious, trying to just keep it clean for now. There's always the potential to jump someone in the pit stops. A lot of new drivers, I think, that might not realise how powerful getting a clean pit stop is, because it really can make or break your race, especially if the field's going to stay as close as it looks like it is. You can see on the map that it's pretty close, though it has spread out quite a bit. I'm assuming there was some collisions going on, almost certainly. Following through Ascari, you can see he drops it, and that puts us into the lead, and luckily someone managed to avoid him, but Spanix goes straight into him, and that is race over for those two. We're just going to have another on board from us watching it happen. You can see he just gets on the gravel, probably was a bit unsettled going through Ascari already, and just loses it. And then we get a pretty nice view of the chaos that unfolded behind, but that gave us a huge gap. Then we were, for the next 20 minutes we just pulled away quite a sizable gap. It's up to 9 seconds, cutting to the lap where I believe I pit on, to 9.5 seconds, almost 10 seconds. It's gaining and gaining. He must have been making errors actually. It's up to almost 12 seconds on the delta. But yeah, it seemed once M20 had released me, I had a lot more pace over the field, which is always nice. Coming to the pits now, as if we can make it a perfect one, and it's quite cautious going in. I've forgotten to stop the engine. It's about 3 seconds cost there by forgetting to stop the engine, but it is a perfect pit stop, which is always nice. We should come out in the net lead. Might have dropped a few positions. Should really have dropped quite a few, unless there are loads of people pitting. But we've actually only dropped down to 4th, which I did get a bit of a gap, but it certainly wasn't a minute over everyone, so a lot of people must have pit early. To only drop 3 positions after pitting is pretty insane. Cutting about a quarter of an hour ahead after that, not much happened, it was just driving in a straight line. You can see we've inherited the lead again, and inherited it by 20 seconds. The car that was behind us, immediately behind us, it was 9-10 seconds behind us, was Mark is 93. He's now 22 seconds behind us. He's had a pretty poor time, and I was very scared here getting past Tintin that I was going to get collected as he came back across, but thankfully nothing scary happened. And now onto the back of Spanix, who's a lap car. This is all just filler really, I don't really need to bother with this. Can we get the move done on him? Should probably just breeze past in the straight, hopefully he's going to just let us go. And he does. It's nice of him. Move back to engine map 2. And continue just driving nice and smooth. There's a nice little battle going on ahead of us that looks like we're probably going to catch by the end of the race, and might be exciting to see what happens. It's Michael and HTR His Monster. A different way of saying his name. Lap 29. Still in the lead, quite some margin. I believe this is going to be the fastest lap, so I'll just let you guys ride on board. so that was a 1:48.2, which wouldn't have been too bad in qualifying, to be fair. It wouldn't have been quite as good as second, but maybe 5th or 6th. As you see, we've caught the back of this battle. So my forward progress of pulling away, which is sort of irrelevant now. It's not really anyway, I'm going to lose from here. But quite excited to just watch a nice little battle unfold. This is Michael behind Here's Monster. He's getting a great run. The power of the Lexus definitely helping out to get alongside into Parabolica. We're going to go side by side. Very wide line by the Lexus. Can it give him the drive out the corner to get past into turn 1 and 2? He's going to stay behind for now. Into the braking zone, up the inside goes the Lexus. And there's contact, which causes the Lexus to cut across, and you might have noticed there in the background that I also broke very late and had to sort of cut across the corner a little bit. Probably the first mistake I made all race, to be fair to me. But now, final lap, coming into Parabolica to seal the deal for our first ever ACC win. 50 points on the board. And it looks like Yes Monster's going to win that battle between him and Michael or Mikkel. I'm not sure which one. There's no A in there. But we've done what we needed to do. And I'm delighted with that. It was quite a boring race though, extremely boring race for me. The most exciting thing that happened was probably the first 2 laps, and then I just drove on my own, had to eventually start lapping cars. Wasn't the most fun start to the season, but couldn't have gone much better. So you can see 33 laps in total. We end up winning by 25 seconds. Probably would have been about 20, 27 if we hadn't waited behind the battle that was unfolding ahead of us, but the win was pretty secure. And then another 3 seconds back to Mark, who was initially in second place for a lot of the first stint. Interestingly, the 2 people near me on the grid, Spanix and M20, ended up finishing very poorly. I think Spanix came dead last, 20 came 16th, so disappointing showing for them, but a great showing for me.